People, I haven't managed to fully take out all of the boxes on my daily to-do list for a Sunday. I was supposed to have a look at a page in that idiom book, but I slept through the entire morning. Hello, Dũng. Pum, 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 pum. Wow, I have a light now. Hello, Will. I actually planned to do a bit of studying this morning, but what happened was essentially I made the wrong call this morning. Instead of getting out of bed at 8 a.m., I decided to sleep in for just a few more minutes, but then I ended up sleeping for 4 more hours. So my morning was gone just like that. And I originally wanted to do a bit of studying, learning idioms and phrasal verbs from that book from Oxford. That book is divine. The thing is that like there are too many words, too many idioms. Like each page is really condensed. So a page is already enough for me. Hold on. We're gonna wait for about 15 minutes. In the meantime, I can keep you all engaged in a conversation or something like that. And I'm gonna have a look at that idiom book. Hold on. Lần đầu thi đạt được bao nhiêu mà mất bao lâu để đạt được band 9 như hiện tại ạ? Lần đầu mình thi là mình được 8 chấm 2016. Rồi speaking là 7,5. Đấy thì đến 2024 thì là 9 overall. Còn 9 của speaking là 2022. Nhưng mà mình cũng không phải là tôi cũng không phải là quá là tập trung về về cái mảng học IELTS ấy. Hồi trước mình dạy science, bây giờ vẫn dạy science nhưng mà khi mà làm freelance thì mình có nhiều thời gian hơn để phân bổ vào cả hai cái bộ môn này. Đó. IELTS thì gần như chả học gì ấy. Bây giờ chả học gì nữa cả, chỉ có gọi là học qua kỳ thi thôi chứ còn cũng không học. Nghĩa là mình phải dành nhiều thời gian hơn cho science. Mà science chỉ cái thế thôi. Đổi áo. Ủa, áo Puma đẹp mà. Mình lấy sách ra xem đã nhá. Đây, idiom in use này. Anh ơi, anh có thể cái gì đây? Giải thích về khung giải đề 4 buổi của lớp 6.5 không? À, ra thì cái lớp hiện tại thì hai lớp đang chia theo cái khung khác nhau ấy. Thì bên lớp 6 5.5 6.5 thì sẽ chia thành 3 khung. Thứ đầu tiên là sẽ có một cái khung như kiểu phần viết nhá, thì sẽ là có một khung cho task 2, một khung cho task 1, một khung cho giải đề. Đấy. Thì cái buổi giải đề đấy thuần là chính xác giải đề thôi, là em biết kiến thức rồi thì em vào em giải đề. Vậy thôi. Anh sinh năm bao nhiêu vậy thầy? Về mặt hình thức thì mình sinh năm 2000 hôm nay là 2004. Kiểu cái tóc kiểu này phải 2004 rồi. Chứ mà vuốt tóc lên một phát là khả năng cao là sẽ năm 1986. Thường thì là cuối khóa đúng không anh? Ừ, thông thường là ý là khi mà em đã tức là biết rồi ấy, và thì em vào lớp đấy học luôn để gọi là quen với việc là bị kéo đi làm đề các thứ thôi. Đấy, nhưng mà nhìn chung là mấy cái lớp của anh nó cứ chạy vòng quanh ấy, tức là nó cứ xoay quanh ba cái đấy là miễn sao học đủ 12 buổi là ok theo cái chuẩn đầu ra mà mong muốn mọi người đạt được. Tóc bạc hơi nhiều. Đâu ra bạc đâu, đấy là do gì nhỉ? Ừ nhỉ, thế rồi. Thế là Túc Anh đã làm phép tính trừ ngay được rồi. Chán quá. Bây giờ nói nói như vậy là mình bị điêu. Trời đất. Thôi phiên phiến thôi nha. Mọi người phiên phiến thôi. Để mình lấy lại quyển sách đấy nhá. Quyển sách mình đang rất là recommend về mặt idioms and phrasal verbs là của Oxford. Mình thích quyển của Oxford hơn. Và cái bộ Advanced đấy. Ôi, cái quyển đấy phải gọi là học nó say đắm, đắm say. Nhưng mà học khó lắm ấy. Mình thấy là mấy quyển đấy mình học 3 ngày một trang, không thể học hơn được. Đăng ký học speaking, đấy em phải liên hệ nhưng mà qua nền tảng khác. Hôm nay không không bị mắc bẫy nói những tên khác đâu nha. Đến 10 giờ 45 mình bắt đầu mock test nhé. Nhưng mà hôm nay thì chắc là sẽ có một luật khác, đó là mình sẽ mock test cho các bạn, sau đấy các bạn phải chia sẻ một chút cái tip để đạt được cái điểm mà các bạn đã đạt được. Nếu như các bạn đã có điểm nha, thì mình muốn nghe một chút về cái tips mà các bạn dùng để cái quá trình học để đạt được cái điểm đó. Không thấy gắn link nên muốn hỏi. Anh, các bạn không biết gắn link ấy, chưa biết cách gắn link. Quân Lê, Quân Lê, tên phây, tên phở thì là Quân Lê. Chăm thì vượt target được không em? Vượt target là như thế nào nhỉ? Vượt êm á. Êm nào? Vượt êm nào ta? Thế biết là êm nào chứ đúng không? Đây, quyển Oxford Skills thì mình đọc cái bài nào đó nha. Ở trong bài có một số cái chủ đề mình rất là thích ấy. Những cái chủ đề như kiểu nó chung chung như là making decisions, mấy cái thành ngữ trong đấy thì rất là hay. Nhưng mà tùy chủ đề, hoặc chủ đề nào cũng cuốn. Nhưng hôm nay mình sẽ học một xíu, xíu thôi, chứ học nhiều không học nổi. Sẽ mình học học cái bài là I can describe character như kiểu là love the sound of his own voice, doesn't suffer, fools gladly, on the surface, play it cool, deep down, to be under someone's thumb. Bây giờ chả nhớ gì cả. Vẫn dạy bao nhiêu bài. Cái phần này học rồi này. Sẽ chọn cái đề khác, chủ đề khác. Anh ơi luyện speaking với ChatGPT có thế không? Mỗi lúc nó cho em một điểm. Anh không xài ChatGPT em ạ. Anh không xài dùng, anh không học về AI ấy. Đấy. Nhưng mà chắc là có thể thứ mà em muốn không phải là cái điểm của nó đâu ấy, mà là em sẽ đưa ra câu lệnh như kiểu là bây giờ ChatGPT nhá, mày giúp cho tao. Rồi, tóc này khó chịu quá. Từ để mình hất nó lên nhá. Đấy. Em có thể input hỏi nó là bây giờ phát triển ý như thế nào, ý kiểu nó cho nó phát triển tường tận, rồi dùng từ vựng tốt hơn. Đấy, dùng thành ngữ, dùng phrasal verbs, rồi là dùng check cái cấu trúc về ngữ pháp. Đấy. Đây, như thế này là về sau tóc nó sẽ đứng đứng thẳng lên này, như Super Saiyan. Nhưng mà tóc này hên xui lắm ấy, lúc thì nó sẽ đứng rất đẹp mà lúc thì nó sẽ trông như là cái bông cải xanh ấy. Đâu nhỉ? Rồi mình đang cần học, đang đang cần xem một số cái idiom đến 8 giờ, à đâu nhầm, đến 10 giờ 45 nhé. May I join? Sure, give me a sec. I'm supposed to do a bit of studying today. Gọi là cũng gọi là học học sương sương mây mây thôi chứ còn gọi là như thế này thì chả đi đâu cả. Đúng là không thể nuốt idiom nhiều nữa đâu nha. Đây, em cũng không có lông mày, mong sau này được 9 chấm như này, trời đất. Đâu, mắt em có vấn đề chứ, mắt mình có lông mày đẹp ấy thôi. Nó gọi là thanh tú, nó không phải là lồ lộ được. Đây nhá, cái quyển này sẽ có cái câu thành ngữ kiểu như này. Tips to help you get on at work. Tức là mình mấy cái thành ngữ kiểu work, study này, xong rồi là making decisions, thought processes, những cái thành ngữ rất là thích, mình rất là thích. Ví dụ này, first you need to get your foot in the door. Get your foot in the door. Leo found it means that you have to plug in right now because again, I am studying. Right? I am studying. I'm gonna put it on the front burner. Okay, where was I? First, you need to get your foot in the door. It's a very versatile idiom, and essentially you can use it to talk about getting your first opportunity in essentially whatever it is that you're supposed to do, right? So you can use this idiom when you talk about your very first job or the job that you want to get in the future. For instance, there's always that not always, but there might be that question of what kind of job you might want to do in the future. So you can say, I think that modeling, you see these cheekbones. Um, what am I talking about again? Okay, that question of getting a different job, right? You can say something like, modeling seems to be a fun job to do, but I'm not quite sure how I can get one foot. How I can get what now? My foot in the door, right? I mean, as you can see, I'm learning idioms as we're speaking, and as you can tell, um, it's really hard at first, and I'm not exactly that fast of a learner. I'm pretty slow, you know, um, on the uptake. So it's gonna take a while for idioms to sink in. I've seen that idiom more than a few times, but I'm still struggling with using it. There are other idioms I have always wanted to try, like dodge a bullet, take one for the team, and what else? There's one more. There's one more. Oh, shifting the goalposts. Shifting the goalposts. I think that I really like these idioms, but as you can tell, I'm having a hard time actually using them. Right, so get your foot in the door. Again, cái thành ngữ get your foot in the door là mình sẽ cho người học cùng với mình nha. Đang học quyển sách. Get your foot in the door là đấy, có một cơ hội việc làm đầu tiên nha. Việc làm đầu tiên thì nó thể là về hiện tại, quá khứ và tương lai đều được, miễn sao là đầu tiên thì đều ok hết. Quyển đấy là Oxford Word Skills, Idiom and Phrasal Verbs Advanced. Đó. Anh ơi, hè em học Anh mà sĩ số lớp anh như thế nào? Anh viral rồi lớp đông không ạ? Cái này viral đâu em? Lớp anh nó hên xui lắm ấy. Có những cái đợt vẫn là get your foot in the door, ghi vào nha mọi người nha. Get your foot in the door. That's a very versatile idiom. It can be used essentially whenever you want to talk about the first opportunity of something, especially when you want to try something new, right? For instance, modeling is fun, but I'm not quite sure how to get my foot in the door because, first of all, I don't really know how to pose, and I don't really know people working in the industry. But I think that if I really put my mind to it, then I'm going to be able to work something out for me, right? Get your foot in the door. Đó. Nói về cái lớp của anh nhá, thì cái lớp đấy nó hên xui lắm ấy. Tức là có đợt, anh nhớ là cái đợt 2023 thì có khoảng từ 10 đến 15 cháu. Nhưng mà các bạn đấy anh thấy anh nhận ra là thực ra là cái myth là cứ là lớp, đúng là lớp không nên đông quá. Nhưng mà lớp mà nó thấp quá ấy, đặc biệt là khi mà cái sĩ số ban đầu nó nhiều nhá, thì càng ngày nó giảm đi ấy, thì nó lại rơi vào tình trạng là cái năng lượng của lớp nó cứ đi xuống ấy. Đấy, nó cứ như kiểu đấy, nên là mọi người lưu ý về sĩ số lớp, không phải là lúc nào cái lớp gọi là nó cứ bé bé xinh xinh là nó sẽ hiệu quả đâu ấy. Anh thấy là lúc anh dạy cái lớp đấy nhá, cái lớp mà 15 cháu ấy, cái lớp đấy lúc từ đầu đến cuối khóa đều 15 cháu và không bao giờ nghỉ luôn ấy. Và cái lớp đấy điểm rất là cao. Đó, còn cái lớp mà kiểu 15 cho đến nó rơi dần còn 10 không 16 bạn ấy, thì cái đoạn cuối nhá, các bạn ấy học rất là mệt. Và tức là kiểu mình thì mình có thể gọi là thồ các bạn đi đúng không? Nhưng mà cái năng lượng của bạn ấy cũng bảo là "Thực ra em thấy hơi 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 sợ, bởi vì là kiểu tự nhiên thầy tập trung vào em nhiều quá." Đó. Cái lớp TRI á, TRI thông thường nó sẽ từ 6 cho đến 12. Đó, nhưng mà sĩ số này hên xui lắm ấy. Mà anh thấy thường là cái lớp nào nó có một sĩ độ ổn định ngay từ đầu ấy, thì đến cuối thì thông thường là cái lớp đấy là kết quả nó rất là cao, bởi vì cái tinh thần học nó lớn. Nội dung chương trình học speaking, thôi từ từ mọi người bình tĩnh nha, tôi đang học tiếp. I'm actually learning people, I'm actually studying as we're speaking. As we speak, not as we're speaking. Nào bây giờ câu đấy nhá. Get your foot in the door. Take things in your stride, whatever happens. Take things in your stride means to accept and deal with something difficult without letting it worry. Tức là phải chịu. Như các bạn bây giờ ấy thì là phải gì ạ? Phải chịu, đúng không? Take things in your stride. Thì câu đấy rất là hay. Cái này thì tức là cũng nói về trải nghiệm đi làm thôi, là khi mà bị chỉ trích đúng không? Là when people criticize you, you might have to learn to take things in stride. Đấy cũng là một thành ngữ mà khi mình hay dùng cái thành ngữ khác, đó là to hit your stride. Hit your stride là bắt đầu tự tin hơn bằng cái find your groove ấy. Nhưng mà take things in your stride cũng thành ngữ rất là hay. Đấy. Nếu mà nói về như kiểu chắc cái này nếu mà mọi người tìm cách nói sẽ nói được rất là nhiều thứ. Như là ví dụ nhá, bạn nói là tất nhiên là về công việc rồi, thì đấy, cái bối cảnh lớn nhất của nó là trong công việc. Take things in stride hoặc là take things in your stride, right? Thì nói về công việc hiển nhiên rồi nhá, nhưng mà trong một số bối cảnh khác ấy, như khi mà nói về một người nói về một người thành công đi. Đấy. What are the qualities of a successful person? Well, obviously, that person has to be A, B, and C. And I think that what's equally important is that this person is that they are capable of taking things in stride. Like they are capable of dealing with criticisms and using them to their benefit instead of being crushed under pressure. And then you can take some examples of famous people who know how to take things in stride. For instance, when Elon Musk did that campaign launching his very first car, the experiment went wrong, right? And he was visibly mad, but he was willing to take things in stride. He learned from the experience, and he urged his team to take the quality of their products to a different level by dealing with all the flaws and shortcomings that they had. Right? Take things in stride. Take things in stride. Đấy, rất là hay. Bối cảnh khác nhá. Let's talk about fashion then. Đấy, mà perhaps fashion designers, với những cái người người làm ấy, teachers, fashion designers. Essentially, when it comes to adults who want to attain success, they definitely need to learn to take things in stride. Right? Good. Okay, một thành ngữ thứ hai này có vẻ dài rồi đấy. Take things in stride. Next then, don't pin your hopes on others. Pin your hopes on others. Cái này sẽ bằng cái là don't count on other people. Right? Don't count on other people. Pin your hopes on others. Cái này có nhớ đúng không nhỉ? Put all your eggs in one basket. Put your eggs in one basket. Cái này thành ngữ rất là hay, là đặt cả trứng vào trong cùng một giỏ, đúng không? Rất là hay. Hello Bill, tò mò. To keep your options open. Cái này hai thành ngữ đi cùng với nhau được này. Cái don't put all your eggs in one basket, nó sẽ gần liên quan đến nó vẫn là bối cảnh về công việc thôi. Đó. Nhưng mà ngày xưa khi mà mình dùng cái thành ngữ này, mình chỉ dùng được trong duy nhất một bối cảnh, đó là cái việc cái gì nhỉ? Cái việc nói về mở rộng công ty, mở rộng các cái mặt hàng. Tại sao công ty nó phải có nhiều cái sản phẩm khác nhau ấy, hoặc là nghệ sĩ họ phải thử nhiều nhiều thể loại khác nhau ấy. Đấy thì đều là They know that it's best that they don't put all eggs in one basket. Đấy. Keep your ear to the ground. You hear important things on the grapevine by talking in an informal way to other people. On the grapevine này rất là hay nhá. On the grapevine này rất là hay. You heard things chứ mà một cái version khác là heard things through the grapevine nè. Grapevine, heard things through. Thế thì khó thì cái khó và cái đáng sợ hơn của idiom ấy là cái dạng mà cái giới từ của nó, cái giới từ, và thứ hai là cái vụ số ít số nhiều ấy. Thề luôn, cái vụ số ít số nhiều của thành ngữ cũng là một cái vấn đề nan giải nha. Đôi khi mình nói là trước một lần mình đi thi nhá, mình đang nói là ý là thành ngữ là to put your foot down đúng không? Ý là bực mình ấy, dậm chân ấy thì là don't make him put his foot down. Foot thôi. Nhưng mà lúc đấy mình đang nói là there, số nhiều. Teachers like sometimes your teachers need to put their foot down and set the record straight with regard to what they want their students to accomplish in their lessons. Đấy. Nhưng mà lúc đấy nhá là their foot, nhưng mình nhớ là foot thôi phải số nhiều mà đúng không? Thế là chưa thành feet. Ôi nghe mặt nhìn vào bác giám khảo bác chán luôn đấy. Ôi mày tự nhiên sai một thành ngữ to đùng. Mà cái lỗi sai đã còn dở cái chỗ là mình lại còn mất thời gian mình cân đo đong đếm lại cái thành ngữ đấy là so I think that teachers every once in a while need to put their feet down. Đấy, tức là cái kiểu nói như vậy theo cuối cùng là nó không như là break cái thành ngữ ấy ra nhé, mà lại còn nó gây ra cái sự chú ý đến cái chữ foot đấy. Ôi rồi, thế là chia sai thành ngữ số nhiều số ít, rất là sợ. Đấy là thành ngữ là nó có một cái vấn đề rất là nan giải là cái vụ số nhiều, xong rồi là vụ giới từ này. Đó. Thì to put all your eggs in one basket, to keep your ear to the ground, or heard things through the grapevine. I heard it through the grapevine. Make a name for yourself. Make a name for yourself. Cái này rất là dễ này. Make a name for yourself. Keep your feet on the ground. Ok. Keep your feet on the ground. Đó. Thì hôm nay có mấy thành ngữ thế để mình nhớ lại nhá. Số 1 đó là số 1 là gì ta? Get your foot through the door. Đó. Get a foot through, in phải là through, in the door. Get your foot in the door. Cái này mình phải mấy lần mình xem Christina Aguilera, cái bà đấy, cái chị ấy suốt ngày nói thành ngữ đấy. Suốt ngày nói thành ngữ đấy nhưng mà vẫn không nhớ được. Get your foot in the door, get your foot in the door. Take things in stride. Take things in stride. Pin your hopes on someone. Put all eggs in one basket and heard things through the grapevine. Ra thì mình cũng sẽ không show bằng đâu nha, vì cái bằng cái chụp ảnh xấu chết đi được ấy. Nếu như mọi người nhìn cái bằng đấy khác gì là nhìn thấy gọi là kính chiếu yêu đâu. Đây này, yêu này. Nên là không thể không thể show bằng khi mà chụp ảnh nó quá xấu. Khi nào cái ảnh đấy nó thật sự là phản ánh được cái vẻ đẹp của mình thì mình sẽ show. Bây giờ có thể tập speaking được rồi nhá mọi người nhé. Nhưng mà lưu ý là lần này thì nếu như mọi người có điểm rồi thì mình sẽ có thêm một câu hỏi. Đó là mọi người làm thế nào đạt được cái target đó nha. Phải target đó mà là cái target đã đạt được rồi. Thì có lớp off không? Mình không có lớp off của bên IELTS nha. Lớp 3 có bao giờ nhận hơn 12 cháu không ạ? Thi thoảng. Hello Hòa. Lớp PO, lớp PO là lớp 7.5 thì lớp 7.5 là lớp aim 7.5 trở lên ấy thì là có học vào buổi tuần gần nhất là tuần sau nha chị Phượng nha. Thầy quân chưa thấy mệt mỏi. Hoặc là ý là theo theo phản hồi ấy, của các bạn thì chưa thấy mệt mỏi bao giờ cả. TRI chắc phải tầm lớp mới hoàn toàn ấy thì chắc là phải tầm tháng tháng một, tháng một cơ, tháng một là năm sau ấy. Ok, Nguyễn Thạch Thảo, wow, Thảo đã vào rồi này. Tức là lớp đều học 3 tháng ạ. 12 12 tuần, 12 tuần. Sau đấy thì một tuần thường là 3 buổi, nhưng mà có thể chia thành tức là mình có thể chia theo đợt, tức là đợt đầu tiên thì học một buổi này hoặc là 2 buổi này, sau đấy thì học bù những buổi sau. Okay. We can do a bit of speaking practice now. I really hope that you can share this live to your friends because, well, first of all, that's something that my friends have advised me to do. So, I don't want their, wisdom to fall on stony ground, and I'm applying um, what they have advised me to do, right? Um, And then what else? Không chắc là được tư vấn là làm những cái gì nhỉ? Một là hãy share. Đó, hãy share. Còn sau đấy như thế nào thì mình cũng quên mất rồi. Um, let's continue then. We can do some speaking training. Mình thấy nhá, những cái idol không phải idol của mình nhưng mà những cái idol trên mạng ấy, thấy là cái phần share của họ á toàn mấy trăm cơ. Trời ơi, đến bao giờ được như vậy nhỉ? Well, it's still early days, and you should appreciate me when I'm still, this hidden gem, because somewhere down the line I'm gonna blow all the way up, right? I'm gonna be the Taylor Swift, or maybe the discount version of Taylor Swift, and you will have to go to the Eras or the Discount Eras tour to see me. Đâu nhỉ? Mr. Kun, ôi, Huyền. Hello, Huyền, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. All right. I have questions here. Have you done the IELTS test? Have you got a score? And then what score do you want to obtain? And and then we can do the speaking mock test.
Actually, I took the IELTS test 4 years ago, and I got 7.5 in speaking, but it has been a long time that I haven't used English much. So actually, this time when I take the test, I just want to, maintain the score.
Which is not a good goal to have, in my opinion. I mean, it's very realistic, but the problem is when you want to essentially reclaim your former glory, you tend to, in a way, take things for granted because you feel like, I've got this target before, so now I can easily retrace the steps to, get it again. But, from my personal experience and my observation, that tends not to pan out well for you, right? So perhaps take things up a notch, and let's say an 8.0, right? That should give you a stronger sense of motivation so that you can learn more and bring more to the table. Okay.
Actually, the last time I took the test, I think I got the score that high mainly because I was lucky.
Doesn't matter.
Like, really?
No, I'm being very sincere here. I mean, the ball is in your court. You get to pick what you want to do because that's your test. I'm just saying, from my personal experience, one of the main drawbacks of essentially telling yourself that, essentially getting what you already got in the past is already enough is that for some reason you might become complacent. Like you start resting on your laurels and you feel like, okay, I just need to retrace some of the steps rather than really stepping up and doing more than what you think is adequate. Understand? So that's all. That's all I'm gonna say. And you get to pick your poison. Now, let's do the speaking mock test. And remember, after the speaking mock test, I will definitely ask you for some advice regarding so not regarding your journey to 7.5 4 years ago. Okay?
Okay.
Now let's talk about plants. Do you keep plants at home?
Actually, I don't. Like, I can see that many people keep plants at home because they want to, make their living room more lively. However, when it comes to my situation, I am not really into it, mainly because I do not have, enough time to take care of the plants. So at the moment, I'm quite busy with both work and study, which leaves me little time to, pay close attention to the plants.
Hmm. Well, do Vietnamese people often send plants as gifts?
Uh, I'm not quite sure. Like, maybe for some like uh home warming parties. Like, I can see that some people usually send plants as gifts for the uh, house owners. Just in order to how to say um
Hmm.
sorry.
Okay, let's continue. In the next part of the test, I would like to discuss with you one or two general questions related to what you have not talked about. Let's talk about using the internet. Now, this is a speaking part three topic, so make sure that you mind your ideas, okay?
Yes.
What do people often use the internet for?
Well, I would say it varies from person to person. So for students, I can see that they mainly use the internet to search for some study materials, which is quite helpful in my opinion, because nowadays most of the information is available online, um, without charge. So students who usually have quite limited budget, they can access such information freely. Besides, when it comes to other groups of people, like adults or the elderly, I can see that they also use the internet to keep in touch with their loved ones, like family members or friends.
Thank you.
And I
So let's talk about searching information on the internet. What types of websites are often considerable? Sorry, not considerable. Oh my God, my mind is spiraling out of control because of the coffee that I had earlier on. I know that I'm just making an excuse. Sorry. The question is, what types of websites are trustworthy?
well, in my opinion, the websites that are run by the governments are usually trustworthy. So I believe that, of course, the governments usually want to send some accurate information to the citizens, especially when it comes to laws and policies. So the information is usually accurate. Yeah.
But then, do you think that people should believe everything that, websites run by the government post?
So although most of the information on the websites run by the government is accurate, I believe that sometimes they can be a bit unreliable, mainly because they might be hacked by some other forces. So yeah, in that case, I
What do you
believe that
mean by
people
other forces?
like like by a group of people who do not really agree with the government's policies.
Thank you. Right. I mean, I wanted to, stir the pot because you mentioned a very interesting point that was also expressed in very cryptic terms. All right. So you see, when it comes to speaking part three questions, I do think that you were able to do the right thing, right? So you expressed yourself and you added many details, especially in the first question. I thought that you hit the ground running, which was lovely, right? But then the thing about speaking part three is that whenever you mention ideas that are slightly obscure or abstract, examiners are very likely to follow up with questions so that you actually have to elaborate on some of the more nebulous ideas you have mentioned, right? So I thought that you dealt with that very well. You said that perhaps the forces might include individuals who do not agree with what the government is doing. You can also mention hackers. That was the first word
Mm,
that sprang to mind when I asked you that question. Okay.
yes.
All right. So um, before we get to the feedback, since we have lots of viewers here, and not lots of, but well, viewers, and a lot of them are interested in how to get from 6.5 to 7.5, and well, you managed to do that 4 years ago. So, what is the one piece of advice that you would give to them based on your personal experience and empirical results? You can
Actually,
speak in
back then,
Vietnamese if you
mm,
want.
uh, maybe I would speak in English.
Nice.
I think back then I didn't do anything special. I mean, I just uh, got myself exposed to some authentic materials
Mm.
on a daily basis. Like I listened to many English videos on both YouTube and TikTok.
Okay, so what was the proactive way of like preparing for the test?
Mm, actually, um, back in the day, I didn't prepare much for the
Mm.
speaking test. I merely focused on writing instead.
Mm.
And I believe it's also a good way. I mean, by preparing for the writing questions, I got a lot of ideas for the speaking question as well.
Mm.
And
So you
that's
kill two birds with one
also,
stone.
yeah,
Okay. Nice. I don't assume that you have more to offer, so we're going to move on to the feedback. I thought that like your answers for the most part were very natural, very characteristic of someone who is very much on band 7.5. I just hope that when you take the test, you can maintain this sort of confidence so that like, when you do the test, you can like, just keep on extending your ideas. Because, well, I'm sure that you are aware of this, in the last part of your answer to the second question in speaking part one, you sort of talked yourself to a dead end, right?
yes,
And you
yes,
couldn't, get the words out in time. You see, I feel like examiners are just gonna move things along, but of course, as a candidate, I do think that you need to avoid situations like that because if examiners are moving things along, it means that they have already given up on you. You understand? So you
yes,
have to, grab the bull by the horns and like try to get the words out. There were
yes,
a couple of lexical errors. Home warming, there's no such concept. It's housewarming, right? Housewarming party. Um, in part three, you said that the government would want to send some accurate information. Now, that word, some, just sounded so out of place for no reason, right?
yes,
It's better for you to say, I think that the government wants to give the people accurate information with regard to their policies and all of the changes that the country needs to be aware of. Okay, not some accurate
Okay.
information. You can just you know hit the nail on the head and say, yeah, just accurate information. Okay.
Okay.
Mm. So correct these
Mm.
mistakes and make sure that you continue to do whatever it is that you have been doing all along, right? And you're gonna get there.
Yes.
Right? Any
Mm.
question?
Uh, which criteria do you think that I am worst at?
Hmm, it's up in the air, in my opinion. Now, personally, I would take 1 point from fluency and perhaps one from grammar. Yeah, that should be 7, 8, 7, 8. Yeah.
Uh, one from grammar. Oh,
Yes.
can I ask why?
I know, right? Because you choose the wrong word, but
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, I thought that you had enough flexibility to, use words in various ways, and you were able to develop your ideas very well. So I genuinely don't think that like your lexical resources were an issue, but you still made a mistake. So I had to take a point away from you, in one way or another. So for me now, it would be fluency and grammar. And also that word some, completely out of the ordinary. Right?
Yes. Okay.
Mm.
Thank you.
Mm. All right. We can move on. Mr. Kun. Uh, I hope that I'm not gonna regret this.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me join this live stream.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. I have two questions for you. Have you done the IELTS test? The
I have
IELTS test? Is
not.
that called an IELTS test?
I
Essentially,
have
have you done the IELTS test?
no. I have not. I aim to
Okay.
take them because currently my job do not require the IELTS. So and I don't. And because I know that the investment for IELTS is much up to 5 million. So currently I do not aim to. But in the future, if I pursue, for example, English sharing something like that, I hope that I will.
Okay. Well, so what exactly do you want?
I want to practice the English speaking. Yes.
Okay. Well, you see, the thing about these live streams that I'm trying to run a tight ship here. So I want to stick to IELTS or things related to IELTS.
Sure. Yes.
So
Yeah.
just to make sure that we're on the same page here, you are gonna answer questions in the IELTS format. Okay?
Okay. Okay. I try. Yes.
Let's go through a few speaking part one questions. Let's talk about small business. Do you know many small businesses where you live?
To be honest, I have not known the small business surrounding my places. Yeah, given that currently I worked in the Ho Chi Minh City, in the center of the city. Okay, and the small business, as I know, that is collocated in the co-working space, so it's hard to catch up with them. Okay.
Hmm. Have you ever worked in small businesses?
Um, I did. When I was in the third year in the university, at those times I worked in the startup about the coffee, but just for around 1 and 2 months. At those time, I found out it was not my dream place. This is the reasons why I did not join this company so much. Yes.
Hmm. let's move on then. I think that we can stick to speaking part one questions. Let's talk
Okay.
about outer space and stars. Have you
Always
ever
a challenging
learned
topic.
have you ever learned about outer space and stars?
I learned about these topics mainly through the movies and films on my own. I have not experienced the official or academic course related to this topic.
Hmm. Um, oh no, where's that topic again? All right, sure. So, do you want to know more about outer space?
Definitely, the outer space or external activities give me the impressions and give me the curiosity on what's happening out there in the universe. And furthermore, I think that the knowledge of the people still limited. So when we go beyond our Earth, it can help us to expand our knowledge regarding to a lot of topics. For example, the material or the resources that we have not discovered.
Okay, good. That should be it for the questions.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna give you some feedback in Vietnamese.
Okay.
Đó thì tức là em cũng chưa thi IELTS và thật trong tương lai nếu như mà có một cái gọi là yêu cầu về công việc thì mới thi thôi đúng không? Còn cũng không phải là nặng về chuyện thi cử đúng không?
Dạ đúng rồi. Nhưng mà nếu nếu mà cần cho công việc thì chắc năm sau em sẽ cố gắng thi.
Ừ. Như thế này, trong câu trả lời của em ấy thì ở đây có hai cái đề trong part one thì nó là những câu hỏi nó là về bản thân em là chính. Thì thường là mình sẽ nói kiểu mình thích gì, mình làm gì, tương lai dự định như thế nào. Đấy, và ngôn ngữ nó không phải cần quá phức tạp, cũng không phải nói về gọi là quá là nhiều người. Tức là những cái không phải nói về những cái điều chung chung ấy, mà nói về em là chính.
Dạ.
Thì nghĩa là những câu trả lời của em về cơ bản là bản chất thì rất là dễ hiểu. Đấy. Và hơn nữa là cách mà truyền đạt của em ấy nó rất là gọi là dễ thương ấy, là endearing ấy, khiến cho người ta cũng muốn nghe. Và tinh thần mà em truyền đạt đó là em rất là muốn nói. Thì đấy là một tinh thần rất là tốt nhá. Thì em cứ
Cảm
duy
ơn
trì
anh.
cái kiểu đấy và khi em nói thì đấy ta cứ diễn đạt ra, được chưa? Còn anh nghĩ là sẽ có những cái lỗi mà mang tính chất là liên quan đến việc là mình không có nhiều trải nghiệm về ngôn ngữ thôi nhá. Thì ví dụ như là to be honest thì phản xạ của nó phải là to be honest. Phát lại nào, to be honest.
To be honest.
Đó, sửa cái âm đấy nhá. Em nói là to be honest. Đấy.
Dạ.
To be honest. Tiếp theo này, I haven't known any small businesses. Thực ra thì cái đấy về ngữ nghĩa là đúng. Nhưng mà cái grammar nó tự nhiên hơn ấy sẽ là I don't know many small businesses near my area because I work in Ho Chi Minh City. And that area is essentially, the like a hotspot for just large companies like international corporations and like national conglomerates. Đó.
Dạ.
Thì em sẽ dùng là I don't know many chứ không phải I haven't known
Dạ.
any. Về mặt nghĩa là giống nhau nhưng mà nghĩa tức bản chất nghĩa thì nó gọi là na ná nhau, nhưng mà cái chuẩn hơn sẽ là I don't know many.
Dạ.
Tiếp tục nhá. Start up about cái coffee, em có hay dùng là cái the ấy. Đấy. Thì cái coffee em đã nói là một cái loại hạt nó chung chung thôi, chứ không phải là một cái loại hạt đặc biệt. Thế là mình sẽ nói là start up about coffee. Đấy.
Dạ. Dạ.
Em thấy cũng được. Start up about coffee. Còn nếu mà tốt hơn nữa thì em sẽ nói hẳn cái động từ mà nó liên quan đến cái coffee này. Ví dụ như là cái gì nhỉ? The start up about selling coffee or manufacturing coffee or exporting coffee. Mất cái đấy là lựa chọn của em thôi nhé. Còn không là coffee thôi cũng được rồi. Khi mà em sang đến cái phần chủ đề về outer space and stars ấy, thực ra là cái phần này đây là câu hỏi rất là khó. Nhưng mà cá nhân anh đánh giá thế là cái câu trả lời của em cái phần này nó lại rõ hơn so với cái phần về cái gì nhỉ? Phần về cái trước ấy là về small businesses.
Dạ vâng.
Đấy. Thì nó sẽ có những cái em rất là nỗ lực ấy nói về những cái gọi là những cái thứ liên quan đến mây trời hay là về outer space ấy, nhưng mà em không có từ vựng. Thì ví dụ nhá, cái đoạn là external activities ấy, ý em nói là những hoạt động ở trên không gian đúng không?
Dạ đúng rồi.
Thế thì nói là gì? Nó là activities in outer space, hoặc là
Dạ,
activities in the space beyond, outside of the earth, outside of the earth.
dạ,
Đấy.
dạ,
Nó sẽ có những cái từ fancy hơn nữa, nhưng mà anh nghĩ là đấy là các cơ bản gọi là mô tả vòng quanh hay nhất rồi. Đấy là activities in the outer space, hoặc là activities outside of the earth.
dạ,
Đó. Cái đoạn mà curiosity ấy, cái giới từ của nó phải là all about đấy. Thì
dạ
mà
vâng,
mà anh vẫn nghĩ là em nên dùng là it makes me more curious. Makes dùng dạng tính từ sẽ hay hơn dùng dạng danh từ.
dạ,
Makes me more curious about gì gì đó nhá. Sau đấy là cái đoạn về knowledge ấy. Em cũng bị rơi vào cái tình trạng là dùng the hơi nhiều. Đấy. Thì em thể nói là the knowledge of the people là hiểu biết của mọi người ấy, đúng không? Thì the knowledge. Nhưng mà anh nghĩ là cách nói hay hơn sẽ là our knowledge about outer space is still limited. Nói lại xem nào.
our
Our
knowledge
knowledge
space is limited.
is still limited.
Still limited. Dạ.
Cái chữ limited đấy phát âm không đâu ấy. Phát âm lại nào. Our knowledge about outer space is still limited.
Our knowledge about outer space is still limited. Limited.
Không đúng. Limited. Limited.
Limited.
Limited.
Limited. Nhớ một anh. Ok. Limited. Dạ. Cảm ơn anh.
Cả câu nữa nào. Our knowledge about outer space is still limited.
Our knowledge about outer space is still limited.
Sau đấy là cái từ cuối cùng là regarding to. Cái này anh vừa bị sai xong ấy. Anh bị đãng trí vừa nãy. Cái đấy là cái từ nối của nó sẽ là một là regarding, hai là with regard to. Đấy, nói lại hai chữ đấy nào.
With regard to, regarding. Dạ.
Đấy. Thì cái đấy là cái em cần chú ý.
Dạ, cảm ơn anh. Ôi anh rất là chi tiết luôn ý. Kiểu như anh nốt được hết tất cả những cái ý sai của em. Em cảm ơn anh nha.
Ok.
Anh có dạy IELTS hả?
Không, anh là ca sĩ.
Ủa thì đó.
Anh là ca sĩ và anh còn là người mẫu nữa đấy. Anh có nhiều
Ôi
shot ảnh rất là nóng bỏng luôn.
hèn gì anh đẹp trai thế. Ủa đây là cao phụ của anh hả? Còn ảnh chính của anh là gì?
Ôi, cái account chính của anh em phải lên một cái nền tảng khác. Nó có hai chữ kinh điển là một chữ O, hai là chữ F, và nó là quạt.
Dạ đó. Khó tin nhở?
Gì mà khó tin? Nó đẹp như này bảo khó tin. Trời, một pha xỉ nhục. Tôi chữa bài cậu kỹ như thế mà bảo khó tin à? Trời ơi.
Vì em rất trân trọng cái sự chữa bài của anh. Trời anh có tâm thiệt. Lần sau cho em join tiếp nha.
Cân nhắc. Nếu như em không tin những điều anh nói thì anh cũng không chắc chắn là em sẽ tin vào những cái lời nhận xét của anh đâu.
Ủa anh tin mà. Em tin mà. Những cái lời nhận xét của anh rất là đúng. Em thấy chính xác á.
Tại sao em biết là chính xác được?
Thì em cũng có học tiếng Anh mà em thấy nó đúng. Với lại gần đây em quen nói á, xong rồi cũng không có chú ý nhiều từ vựng lắm. Với những cái feedback của anh em thấy chính xác. Ok.
Okay. Alright, that should be it for today. Vì em chưa thi nên anh cũng không có cái nhu cầu hỏi gì thêm về kinh nghiệm thi cử cả. Khi nào em
Dạ
thi
vâng.
xong thì anh sẽ hỏi thêm cô đấy nhá. Nếu như em vẫn còn muốn lên livestream tiếp.
Dạ, cảm ơn
Và
anh
nếu
nha.
như em
Chúc
vẫn
anh buổi tối
livestream ấy,
dạ, chúc anh buổi tối vui vẻ nha.
giọng miền Nam, người giọng miền Nam và người miền Nam giọng cô tay ghê cơ. Trời
Vậy
ơi.
hả? Cảm ơn anh. Nhớ cho em cái account kia nha, để em follow cho.
Em nên follow cái này đã, em phải follow cái này đã xong rồi.
Follow
Anh có một
rồi.
request này, em follow mà em cũng cứ thả tim hết ấy. Đấy, thi thoảng em vào em
Ok.
comment cho nó trôi nổi thêm một chút.
Để em tặng hoa cho anh nha. Rồi.
Ừ.
Chúc anh ngủ ngon. Bye bye.
Ok, cảm ơn em. Bye em. Bây giờ đến xem bạn Phú nhá. Phú, I have two questions for you. Have you taken the IELTS test? What is your result? And then, what is your target?
Well, I have taken the test about, let's see.
About what?
I I have taken the test about 3 years ago. About, yeah, since
So you took a test 3 years ago.
2020. So I got the band score of 7. I don't know. So sorry. Oh my god. So like a little bit nervous. So I was wrong. Sorry. I took the test at 2022 once, and then in the about 3 months next, I take the test one more time to receive the band score of 7.
Okay, so essentially, you have taken the IELTS test. You did
Yes,
so a
correct.
few years ago,
Yes.
but I'm not gonna pin your hopes on you. That's an idiom that I, introduced at the beginning of this live stream session. So essentially, I shouldn't pin my hopes on you because your mathematics skills are horrible. But you got a 7 for speaking.
No, I got an 8. I was 6.5. 6.5 for speaking, and in
Okay.
the overall is 7.
Ah, nice. Well then, what is your heart's truest desire when it
Sorry,
comes to speaking?
just speaking, I think we're gonna retake the test maybe July or June next year. So probably just I'm aiming at 7 for speaking.
Nice, nice. I think that you're headed in the right direction. I feel like when it comes to setting test goals and things like that, you should not choose something that you have already accomplished and settle with the goal of just reclaiming your former glory because it tends not to work out for the better. Okay.
Yes,
Good.
I do
I think
understand.
that you are right to take things up a notch in terms of your expectations. Okay. Well, then, I'm definitely going to ask you about your experience getting that 6.5.
Yes.
But for the time being, we're just going to talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about chocolate. My least favorite thing, to be honest. I think it's so overrated, but okay.
Yeah, me too.
Well, um, the first question is, when you were a kid, did you often eat chocolate?
Well, I used to have a sweet tooth, so generally I would try every kind of sugary candies. Yes, and probably chocolate is it was one of my favorite kind of candy.
And what is your current favorite flavor of chocolate?
Probably something a little bit bitter. In the past, I don't really like the taste of bitter because like it's very annoying to me. Yeah. But currently, I think that chocolate must be a little bit bitter, and the flavor of bitter and sweet must be equally distributed. So generally, it's gonna create a very good like experience for the eater.
Just a moment.
Yes.
And do you think that it is a good idea to use chocolate as gifts to others?
Well, it depends. If just like a kind of like present for like for normal occasions such as like birthday or after a long time of meeting, yes, I think it's gonna be like suitable. However, in some bigger occasions such as in some big parties at companies, probably it's like some kind of more valuable items may be more necessary for such occasions.
Okay, just a second. In the next part of the test, I would like to discuss with you one or two general questions. So we're moving on to speaking part 3. Hold on. Let's talk about computers and tablets. What do people in your country often use computers for?
Well, most of the time, people, especially officers, they're gonna use like their computers or any other electrical devices for various like for various purposes, and most of the time it's going to be for working. For students, they probably use it just for like taking note or doing some other activities such as teamwork or doing a project.
Do you think that it's important to teach children how to use computers from a very young age?
I believe that the early approach to like some sorts of electrical devices such as a mobile phone or TVs or laptops gonna be beneficial for children, just because like during the modern era, like technology is just like a very fundamental part of our life, and as a result, like there's no doubt that children probably should like learn how to use it in the early stage, because like if they learned how to use it in the later period, probably it's gonna be like left out. They're gonna be left out of the whole like moving generations.
Okay, I got enough notes to cover the next period of feedback, so we're just gonna wrap up the test session here.
Yes.
Okay. Before I give you my feedback, can you share with us perhaps just one tip to get to 6.5?
Well,
You can say it in Vietnamese if you want.
maybe English a little bit, because like I really like to speak English. Oh, wait a minute, okay? Just a minute.
Sure. In the meantime, I can answer some of your questions. Hello, Mr. Dang or Dang. Okay, tell me.
Either to get band score of 6 and 6.5, like I don't really sure that is a like any significant difference between 6 and 6.5, because like um in the first time I take the test, I got this band score of 6, and of just about 3 months later I retake the test and I got 6.5. So like, to be honest, I don't really sure like the any like, significant difference between these two band score. However, in order to get band score of 6.5, I believe that the first thing is just like my strength, okay? It's about pronunciations and also about fluency, because like I have practiced English with foreigner quite much before I take the test. I usually used Omigo. That's just like a kind of platform for people to connect to foreigners around the world. So this kind of method gonna help me to approach English more frequently than like just like passively learned from the live stream or like YouTube. So yes,
So
speaking.
you focused on developing your ideas and you also practiced with foreigners.
Yes, I focus on practicing with foreigner. Yeah, quite much. And in terms of like idea generations, I have to confess, like I don't have so much time to focus on like those kind of aspect, because like I have quite much amount of things to fix.
I agree.
Yeah, because it's just like I want to assume myself as any kind of genius or something like that. But in order to speak like this, I have to like practice kind of much, like to fix from pronunciations and also about like the intonations and so many things else that I have to learn quite much amount of things. So
Okay.
yeah,
Speaking of the things that you need to correct,
yes,
we're gonna move on to the feedback segment. Um, I thought that yeah, you certainly were able to speak at length. So let's get all of the good points that you have mentioned out of the way. If
yes,
you want to get 7, you definitely need to be more precise.
yes,
So you need to take some time to correct your mistakes. And I think that you see when it comes to speaking practice, there are various types of training that you can engage in. You can
yes,
talk to other people, which is a good thing. But like when you talk to foreigners, they might not be willing to, criticize you. I think that it's very common for people to be reticent about things like that because, like, you're just having a conversation and it's just weird for them to, hold the responsibility of teaching you. So if they want to
Yes.
do that, they're going to do that. But if they don't, then you're not going to be able to improve. Although you can still, keep the ball rolling by practicing on a regular basis. Um,
Yes.
if you practice with your friends, you have to be careful because you might end up in that endless loop of positive feedback. Like if you and your friend are essentially in the same ballpark,
Yes.
it's going to be really hard for either of you to notice the other's mistakes, right?
Yes.
So I think that every once in a while you need to talk to someone who is like genuinely superior to you and critical of what you say, and you can take some notes and then just go offline for a while so that you can work on your craft, right?
Yes.
So we're going to move on to the second type of practice when it comes to practicing by yourself. I do think that you need some alone time to have some sort of like self-reflection when you go over the things that you have talked about. Because the problem with talking to other people is that sometimes you are distracted by other factors, including like body language and circumstantial factors like, the lights and how polluted the air or how noisy the surrounding environment is, right? So when you practice by yourself, it's really just you and, your abilities. So you definitely need some alone time to work on your craft, okay?
Yes.
So you see, that's why I also agree that it's not exactly a good idea to constantly jump on, live stream sessions or, practice with other people. Because
Yes.
like if you cannot like recognize your own mistakes and be critical of them, it's really hard for
Yes.
you to, take your skill to the next level. So let me
Yes.
point out some of the mistakes for you to work on. I like the fact that you mentioned that you had a sweet tooth. I actually
Yes.
thought that, if you eat, for some reason, I was thinking about you having a diabetic tooth. Yeah, that's a humorous way of saying that you're consuming a bit too much chocolate,
Yeah.
right? But of course, you were not like that. But then, as you were mentioning, that idiom, I was also thinking about, all right, I wonder if you had, some dental problems, or if you had like tooth cavities growing up because of your, indulgence in chocolate. Did you have teeth problems back then?
Well, I did I? No,
You don't remember that?
I didn't. I didn't. Yes, I didn't have any kind of problem.
Hello, Mr. Duke. Mr. Duke, Mr. Duke, hold on. Give me one moment. I need to promote Mr. Duke. Mr. Duke is liking this particular live stream using his clone account, like his less important account. But he's an English teacher. He has like um um 990 990 for TOEIC 26 times, and he is also an 8.5 in IELTS, right? So yes, I'm doing my very best to become the number one KOL, right? I might need to work on my advertising skills, but as you can tell, I'm making an effort. Right, so Mr. Duke is here, not Mr. Nate because I'm talking about Mr. Duke, the one who's using the less important account. Okay, let's continue. Flavor of bitter and sweet. Oh, you need to use a noun there, or two nouns to be exact. Flavor of. What's the noun for bitter? Bitterness
Bitterness. Yes.
and sweetness. Okay. In some bigger occasions, the the preposition for occasion would be on, right? On some important occasions. And then you talked about the items that could be used as gifts. I think it's very unnatural to say, chocolate is. So some other items are more necessary because that just doesn't sound right. You can use the word appropriate. Other presents would be more appropriate. Now say that.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, you're not Ariana Grande. You need to repeat the entire thing. I'm
Yes.
teaching you.
Okay.
And what are you gonna repeat?
I do understand.
Let me repeat the sentence.
Oh, you mean to repeat
Other
the sentence? Okay.
items. Yes, other items would be more
More
appropriate.
appropriate. Other items would be more appropriate.
A bit blurry.
Sorry?
A bit blurry. One more time.
Other items are more appropriate.
That actually got worse. One more time.
Really? Other items are more appropriate.
One more time.
Other items are more appropriate.
Okay. When I asked you to repeat what you have said and then told you that your second attempt was diabolical, did I get on your nerve?
Sorry?
Repeat that.
What do you mean like get on your note? I'm not really sure about it.
Nerve.
Nerve.
As in
Okay, nerve.
did I make you mad?
No, actually not.
Were you averse to repeating? Averse is reluctant.
Well, like I'm so sorry because like I've just come back from work, so maybe a little bit distracted. I'm sorry if like it made you feel like I'm disrespecting
No. I am not criticizing you on anything. I'm just asking about your feelings.
Oh no, I don't. Yeah, I
Okay.
feel very okay and very like appreciate your feedback. So yeah, I'm gonna keep listening.
Don't blow things out of proportion here. I only asked these two questions
Okay.
because I think that it's very important for you to learn to repeat what you have said until
Yes.
you get it right.
Okay.
Understand? That's all.
Yeah. Yes,
You
that's
don't have
okay.
you don't have to sing me praises. All right? That's gonna be very awkward. And I also don't respond well to compliments unless they're from Mr. Duke, the one with 26 times 990.
919.
Now, Mr. Duke, can you just get a 9 in IELTS so that I can just use that number instead, like 990? I don't even like mathematics, but whenever I want to promote you, I have to mention, that long number, 990, 26 times. Right? Okay, let's continue. In speaking part 3, you said people, officers, they're going to. The problem with that kind of grammar is that it's inaccurate. You only
Yes.
said people, like officers and workers, they are. The correct grammar here is people, like officers and workers, are going to.
Yes.
You understand? So
Yes.
that's the kind of discipline that you need to have.
Yes.
Moving forward to band 7. The whole moving generation. The whole moving generation. What is that?
Well, just like in my idea, I would like to say that like how to say what's let me think. Just like like
Thế hệ vươn mình.
not exactly. I mean like throughout the time people are gradually like getting how to say smarter, and therefore like they're moving forward. I mean like that.
Oh.
Like
Well, you
society
can
is
say
moving forward.
in this forward moving generation.
Yes.
Oh, I couldn't figure out for the life of me what the whole moving generation was. I thought that you were talking about, young people who were, bouncing from one place to another, and you're trying to find new accommodation because their houses just keep on, becoming more expensive over the years.
Yes.
No, that's so you were not referring to that kind of moving.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. So, Fu, I think that first of all, unlike a lot of people in this comment section who called you out for, hopping from one live stream session to another, I really appreciate your commitment to
Yes.
your training, and I really hope that, everything's going to work out stupendously for you, and at the end.
Yes.
But I do believe that you definitely need some alone time. And
Yes.
like, too many, hold on, there's an idiom about chefs. Hold on. Let me have a look at that. Too many chefs make the broth. Hold on. That's a very clever idiom, but okay. Too many cooks spoil the broth. It means that when you take, different pieces of advice from like different experts,
Yes.
you might end up ruining things for yourself.
Yes.
Understand? So that is something that you need to be aware of. I mean, I really appreciate your effort and the fact that, you're like hopping from one expert to another to like get as much wisdom from us as
Yes.
possible. But I do believe that you need to give one of us the benefit of the doubt and focus more on your personal training.
Yes.
Okay? But whatever floats your boat then. All right, that's it for today.
Just thank you so much for like your advice. I remember that.
Okay, bye bye. Swan, Ngan với Vịt ơi, chờ mình một xíu nhá. Anh Đăng đã gấp quần áo chưa đấy? Chưa gấp quần áo mà bây giờ đã lên livestream chơi rồi á. Này vợ phạt chết. Ồ, sao gì đấy ra? Ok, mình sẽ gọi một thiên ngo.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for having me here.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm supposed to continue the conversation, right?
Oh, yes.
I have two questions. Have you taken the IELTS test? What was your result? And the second question is, what is your aspiration?
Well, actually, I have. I have taken the test quite recently. Actually, it was like 2 weeks ago. Well, the result was a bit of a disappointment, actually. I was aiming higher, and I actually got an 7.5 for speaking. Yeah, I was a bit FOMO. I was expecting a bit of a higher score. But yeah, that was my result. And yeah,
You were expecting
of
this, right?
course, yeah, to a certain extent, yes. Actually, well, 3 years ago, I took the test, and to my surprise, I got an 8 in speaking. So yeah, to your reference, I actually, you are really my aspirations to like earning a higher band.
Okay, fine. And what is your aspiration?
Well, I believe that my motivations to like earning a higher score is probably the main reason is probably my my willingness. I actually really hope to.
Sorry. I need to
you know,
redirect you. My question is, what is your
so,
aspiration, as in, like, what is the score that you want to attain when you take the test next time?
okay, sorry. An 8.5, ideally, yeah, I believe so.
You know what? I really like it when people are so transparent when it comes to their goals.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not like that. So I
Oh,
think that it's
yeah.
very endearing for you to, hop on here and essentially state to the entire universe that, this is what I want. Now come and get me some. Um,
Yeah. I actually just, my goal is like aim for the star, At least you'll be surrounded, yeah, by other, planets, probably.
or
Sorry,
maybe
aim
aim
for
to
the
sell the
moon.
dust.
Yeah.
Okay. Or in the
Okay,
vacuum,
thank you.
where there's no oxygen and you become lifeless and you just gotta stay floating around and you have no
Oh, you're so
say with regard
realistic for
to whatever
that.
direction that you're gonna float towards. But okay, so you were aiming for the stars and you ended
Yeah,
up in the stratosphere,
yeah.
becoming um,
I
burned by the
studied for like
fire.
a week. Yeah, I studied for like a week, so it wasn't, as much as the result that I wanted, but it's okay to me. Yeah, at least it's not
Well,
like a big.
at least you had a
Yeah,
reality check, right?
yeah. I had a really reality check, actually.
Okay. Um, so I imagine that you want to have a speaking mock test.
Okay, it's up to you. Actually,
I
do
mean,
I get to have like?
it's either
Yeah.
that, or I'm gonna give you a topic, and then you can just grab the ball and run with it for about 2 minutes.
Oh, so well, actually I would prefer some questions to flow with, actually.
Okay. So let's talk about apps here. What
Yeah.
kinds of apps have you downloaded on your phone recently?
Well, actually, I have just been employed to a new job as like a teaching assistant. So the newest app that I've downloaded is probably the app that is called eOffice, is related to my work. So it's mostly used for work purpose and, downloading documents.
What kinds of apps have you deleted?
Well, since I have joined the workforce, I've probably, get rid of some of entertainment apps that was quite time consuming for me. Probably the most one would be the latest one would be Twitter. Sorry, X.
Okay.
Yeah, like social media apps.
And are you willing to spend money on apps?
Oh, I believe that if it was it, and then probably I would. When it, for example, when it comes to like useful apps, like or tools that is really helping my work to get my work done, like Grammarly, or some AI tools to really boost my productivity, then I would. Yes.
Mm. Okay. In the next part of the test, I'd like to discuss with you one or two general questions. So these are speaking
Okay.
part 3 questions. Let's talk
Oh.
about books. What are the types of books that young people like to read?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, young people nowadays would often go for books like psychology books or books on communications. It really depends on their purpose or like recent life status. Like if young people who are still in school, they probably would go for like studies book or textbook. But for people who have, get a job, they probably go for like more realistic and work related kind of books.
What are the examples of work-related books?
Oh, well, I can say that work related books can be. Sorry, let me wrap things up. I think that work related books can be like relating to books that are like close to the field. For example, when people are working in industries like consulting or auditing, they would go for books in terms of their field, like financial ones or famous article that give them like the mythology or the the base knowledge or the recent updates regarding their
Thank you.
field. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you think that in the future, people will spend more time reading than they do now?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Do you think that in the future, people will spend more time reading than they do now?
Well, I believe that although the life today is getting, more hustling, people will still spend more time on, reading. I believe that even though books can come from different forms, from like papers to like electronics books, they still play vital parts in terms of entertainment as well as a form of like a
Thank
form
you.
of
Do you
receiving
think
new
that people
knowledge.
tend to, thank you. Do you think that people tend to read for leisure or for knowledge?
Well, it actually depends. Well, when it comes to, bookworms, they actually read for like leisure. Like it is actually a form of entertainment for them to read and like grinds on books day to day. But to like students, it is a part of when it is a part of their school to like reading so on textbook and stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Let's do a bit of trading here.
Yes.
So you got an 8 eons ago, and recently you got a
Yeah.
7.5 to your disappointment. Well then, um, there, well, not lots of people, but then some viewers here might be interested in the way to get to 7.5 and 8. Um, what is your advice for these viewers for that particular goal?
I believe that the most important part of speaking is that you have an idea and you can actually develop it without like getting out of line, like go too ahead of themselves or talk like too much or too little. Like I believe that the perfect amount is like something that people should be aiming for when like aiming a higher band. I think that's one of the problems that I'm facing because I might have lost some of my games from like a while ago. Like I don't have much time practicing since of the work that I have been having.
Okay.
Yeah,
How old are you, may I ask?
I am 23.
Oh, so you have just graduated.
Oh yes, yeah. That's why I said I probably lost it from all the work and study I've done.
Okay. Hold on. There was an idiom that I used at the beginning of this live stream session, and I have promised myself that I'm gonna use it. Let me check it again.
Yeah.
Something in the door. Oh, get your foot in the door. Get one foot in the door. Right. That's a very nice idiom. So you're 23 and you've
Yeah.
managed to get your foot in the door, by starting to work for an English center. Yes.
Oh no, I work for a university actually.
Oh, okay. So you're
Yeah,
working for a university, but that's an idiom that you can use. So yeah, I've been able
yeah,
to,
yeah. Thank
get
you.
a foot in the
Yeah.
door. I learned it at the
Yeah.
beginning of the live stream here, and I did promise myself that, I would use it. But apparently, as you can tell, it has
Mm,
just slipped my mind. Dang it, man.
mm.
I like the idiom. Get a foot in the door. Okay. I'll get one foot in the door. One foot in the door.
Okay, one foot in the door. What is that like actually mean? Is it mean like get on practice or something?
It means that it means to get an opportunity, your first opportunity,
Yeah.
to enter a business or organization at a low level, but with a chance of
Oh
being
yeah,
more
yeah.
successful in the future. That sounds like an apt description of what you're doing right now, huh?
Yeah, actually it really suits me very well.
Get one foot in the door. It's very crucial. Getting one foot in the door is very crucial.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with regard to your answers,
Mm,
I I think that you did a lot of nice things. You were able to speak at length. You were able to use a wide range of lexical resources and grammar structures, and your pronunciation, for the most part, was
yeah.
intelligible, and there was that sort of rhythm to your answers. So all of these things are nice, right? But I think
Yes.
that
Thank you.
I can sort of understand why you got a 7.5 rather than an 8. Um,
Yes.
I think that when you were younger, you you had some sort of beginner's luck with you, and perhaps at the time, like you were in a way in this flow of studying and applying what you learned.
Yeah.
So you had that momentum going on for you. But
Yes, yeah, you're really right. Like at that time, I had a flow studying for like a straight 6 months, and yeah, recently I only have like 2 weeks to study for all the four skills. So yeah, it really affects my result actually. I was looking to have like a bit of feedbacks from you to how to improve my works. Yeah, thank you.
okay, um, let's go through some of the notes I have noted down here. To join the workforce, it's not wrong, but when I first heard it, I thought that it was a bit out of place. But I imagine that when I listen to this recording again, I'm gonna change my mind. So I don't assume that it's, you know, anything egregious. It's just that perhaps it's better for you to say, ever since I started working professionally, right?
Yes.
Join the workforce is a bit weird. But you can
Yeah, it's
say,
a bit unnatural. Yeah.
I've been working as a teaching assistant for a spell. That idiom
Yeah.
is really nice. Do something for a spell is to do it
Mm.
for a short period of time, which is
Oh,
what you're doing right now.
yes.
It's worth it. I asked about what did I ask about?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
about like paying for
apps,
apps. If I, yeah.
apps. So I asked you, are you willing to pay for apps? You said if it's worth it. Do you know what's wrong with that?
Uh, if it was, sorry, I have some problem like pronouncing the word worth.
No,
Like,
that's not the issue.
yeah. Mm.
I was talking
If it
about,
was
are you
it,
willing to
worth it?
pay for apps?
Oh, I was not really on point. Was that the problem?
So, no, you should have said if they are worth it.
Oh,
If
sorry.
they are
Yeah,
worth
I
it.
really missed that. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that in a way you did hit the ground running when it comes
Yeah.
to your speaking part one questions.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
outside
really,
of a few
yeah.
mistakes, but I personally don't really think that, these are that big of a deal. But when you move to speaking part three, you
Yeah.
proceeded to slowly but surely lose control, but not in
Yes,
a good
that's
way.
my problem. I always like sleep out in part three.
Okay. well, that's something that you need to get to grips with, because oftentimes that's where they're going to finalize your results. So
Yeah.
the first question was about the various types of books that people in your country are interested in. So you talked about like study book and then textbook. You said these words, they often go for study book or textbook. So what is wrong with that sentence?
Study books, is that like a thing? I just randomly thought of it. I think textbook is mean 讀sách就花比較輕. But like study books, I don't think it
I'm
really
talking about
makes
the
sense.
grammar.
Oh,
Go for,
yeah.
let's say textbook. What is the correct grammar here?
Like what did I
Textbooks with the S at the end.
textbooks. Textbooks. Yeah, sorry.
It's a very common mistake. It's just that I think that you're aware of errors like that, and you need to, be more vigilant when you're taking the test. Okay. And then you mentioned about the fact that you could learn some mythology.
Yeah, I mean like frameworks or base knowledge of a certain field.
That would be methodology.
Oh, sorry.
Methodology.
Methodology.
Mythology is essentially the study of myths, if I'm not mistaken, mythology. It's a myth. Mythology. Myths, sorry, not the study of, but mythology, it would be myths, ancient stories in general, right?
Okay.
So you were trying to use the word methodology, not mythology.
Yeah. Methodology.
Now, for the second question, I'd have to say that you lost me for a moment there, because when I asked you about the examples for work-related books, you
I
really
got a
fumbled the
bit
ball.
lost.
Like that question sort of like knocked the wind out of you, so you just essentially froze for like 5 seconds straight.
Yeah.
And then like
I was a
you
bit
were
lost.
trying to get into the groove again, but you were clearly struggling to do so. But then I get to say that after that, you were able to hit your stride again, and then you had such a nice flow, which was fantastic. But I suppose what you need to do is that you need to find a way to jump into that rhythm as fast as possible, and you might want to use other fillers so that you can successfully stall for time without coming across as desperately searching for words.
Yeah,
Right?
I was really desperate at that question, really.
Well, I guess that's why you're more likely to get a 7.5 now. And if you want to get 8.5, you need to be, more responsive in a way. So you should practice with questions like this. And you don't really have to, put together like a sophisticated answer right out of the gate, but you definitely need to give your examiner a sort of answer, a sort of response. So you can use, a few, fillers just to stall for time. You could say something like, well, let me think about it. I mean, I imagine that there are various types of like work-related books that are like super popular these days, but for some reason, I just can't quite put a finger on them. But sorry, put a finger on it. The idiom is to put a finger on it. I can't quite put a finger on it. But I suppose the first type would be, books related to communication skills or computer skills, right? I think that, once you have managed to, cover that particular part with meaningful fillers, you're set, you're good to go, right? But
Thank you
if
so
you
much.
like struggle like in in a very obvious way, well, that's gonna that's definitely gonna knock you off your perch. Okay? Be
Yes.
careful with that. And
Oh,
then you said life gets more hustling. That was a random word out of nowhere. Life gets
yeah.
busier or life gets more
Oh, yeah.
hectic, right?
Yeah, I
And
was like searching for words. Yeah.
and also, I think that you need to learn to, end your answers more graciously. For the last question, you did manage to, drive home a message, which was very clear, but the way that you ended your answer was a bit, weird in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't remember what you said, to be honest, but I just felt like, wow,
Okay.
she could have, ended things on a high note, but no, she decided to go low and ineffective. Right?
Oh, okay. Can you like elaborate more on how I can like yeah? Can you like give an example on how I can like add an answer like better, please?
The problem is I don't even remember what I asked you. I also
Yeah.
don't remember what you said. I just thought
Oh,
that the ending was a bit weird.
okay.
Um, I
Okay.
think you
Thank
said
you.
something
I'll
like
work on
you
it.
said something like so you had an idea and then you developed it, right? Which is a
Yeah.
very typical thing to do. But then at the end, you started saying things like uh hold on, they have slipped my mind. I think that perhaps you said yeah, that's all. Something like that, to wrap up your
Oh,
answer. It's
yeah.
not wrong, it's
But
just
it's
that
like a bit short and erupted
yeah.
in some
Yeah, yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll
So,
work on it.
mm, so that's why I was um I was a bit torn, to be honest, because
Yeah.
like the lack of consistency in your answers was what got me like scratching my head to overall score because your first response in your speaking part three was fine. Your second
Yeah.
response was horrible at first, but then you found your groove, and then you really blew it up completely out of the water. So I thought that it was fantastic. But then for the third
Oh,
question, you relapsed again with a less than appropriate end. So that's something that you need to work
yeah.
on. Although, to be honest, I don't remember what you said for the third question.
Yeah. I believe that the problem
8.5
I
is an
have the
ambitious
most also
goal.
is part three. Yeah. When people like dive
Well,
in deeper into my answer, I can get like panic a bit.
yeah.
Especially when it comes to like a topic that I don't really know much about, such as like books or culture, which I have met this problem before. Yeah.
Okay. Well, do what you must. I think
Yeah.
that you should aim for a higher score. But for the time being, I feel like you haven't really, been able to find your groove yet.
Yeah.
So, it's gonna be quite a daunting task. But good luck.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay. One more person, and then I'm gonna hit the sack. Who is still here? You can leave now.
Okay. Thank you.
Tuệ Lâm. Hello.
Do you hear me clearly?
I can hear you clearly.
Yep. And I can hear you clearly too.
Sure. So I have two questions for you. Have you
Okay.
ever taken the IELTS score? Have you got a result yet? And what exactly do you want to achieve?
Well, actually, I haven't taken the test. And I have prepared for it for nearly 6 months. And maybe I would take that test in 1 month or soon. And my targeted score is 7.5 for speaking.
Okay. Have you taken the test?
No,
Ever?
yep, that is my first time. This is my first time.
Oh, so you haven't taken any test?
Well, like mock test, I have taken mock test, but when it comes to official test, I haven't ever.
Okay, cool. Well, I wanted to do some trading. I want you to tell our viewers the tips to get to a certain score that you might have got. But since you haven't taken the test, that question is out of the way. Okay.
Okay.
Now, get one foot in the door. Is that the correct idiom? Yeah, okay, get your foot in the door. Oh my God, I like that idiom, but I feel like the more I try to remember it and use it, the more elusive it becomes. Get one foot in the door. Get one foot in the door. Okay. In the first part of the test, I'd like to discuss with you one or two general questions. Let's talk about doing sports. Are you good at sports?
Not really. I have to say that. Well, actually, that back then, maybe like 3 months ago, I I I cycled a lot, which means that I spent a lot of time cycling around my city to feel more refreshed and relaxed after a long day of studying. But now, as a senior at high school, I need to spend a lot of time for studying and for studying for assignments and homework. So I do not have time for sports anymore.
Thank you. And well then when you sorry. Do you think that it's important for people to exercise often?
Totally. Even though that I do not play sports regularly, but I totally believe that people, especially young people, should focus. No, I mean should allocate time and effort on such as exercises. It's a good way to feel refreshed, and also a good way to recharge our barrier after a long day of working or studying. And also, I think that it would be a great way to, to control our emotion and feeling, especially
Thank
when
you.
we're not.
Thank you. In the next part of the test, I'd like to discuss with you one or two general questions related to what you have not talked about. Let's talk about creativity. In your opinion, what types of people tend to be very creative?
Sorry, but can you repeat your question?
I know, I gasped out in the last word. What types of people tend to be creative?
Well, from my perspective, I think that everyone can be so creative on their own because, because people are individual creature, so they have their own thoughts, perspective, and what actions as well. So for sure that like no one could follow like this a similar pattern as a lot of people out there do. So am I. I mean, which means that I mean, like being an individual in society, people have a tendency to hide their own thoughts in order to, to look for.
Well, then, how can we teach children to become more creative?
Letting children do everything on their own is a good way to make them more creative.
Do you think that it's dangerous to let them just do everything on their own?
Well, kind of. But because I know that nowadays, like parents, especially modern parents, live in rural area have a tendency to control their children a lot. So maybe it's better to let their children live on their own. So they can boost their creative and also cognitive development as well.
Just a moment. Do you think that in the future, creativity will still be an important quality to possess?
Definitely. Well, I have to say that with advent of technology, there are various low-skilled or less creative work can be replaced by AI assistants, which means that human can, handle such creative or high-skilled jobs or tasks. So in the future, such creative or high-skilled jobs would be so valuable for people, especially that people learn how to, learn their, I don't know, but like,
Thank you. That should be it for today. Is Lum your real name?
no, that is not my real name.
So this is a fake account.
Not really a fake account because I do not usually use TikTok. So, yeah. But anyway, you can call me Gilmore.
Gilmore?
Yep.
What's wrong with your Vietnamese name?
Okay, so you can call me Ngân.
Ngân. Okay.
Okay.
It's a beautiful name. What's the point of going for Gilmore?
I don't know because this is IO test, and I don't know, but I just
Okay,
like
fine. No, I'm just playing with you. I'm just messing with you. This whole thing about, having an English identity has become somewhat corny, in my opinion. I remember, 5 or 6 years ago when I, got my foot in the door, working as a science teacher in a center. It was all the rage. Like you needed to have an English identity, you needed to have an English name, and you needed to encourage your students to have a sort of English identity, right? But you see, no, it's 2025, right? It's still 2025, and I feel like, we have come a long way from that particular point. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having an English name. And I'm also not giving you a lecture. I just want to talk. That's all.
okay.
And I feel like even though I do go by the name Keely IELTS, which is not my real name, Keely is a nickname that was, given to me by some of my former students as, an endearing way to call me. So that's why I'm gonna use the name Keely. But in the test, I always say you can call me Kwon. It's not that they can pronounce my name correctly, but it's just that, it's my identity. And I feel like, we need to embrace our Vietnamese heritage a bit more rather than, chasing after these superficial Western trends of having English names. Not that I am giving you a lecture, okay? It sounds like I am, but no, I'm just talking. Right?
Okay.
So Gilmore or Ngun, I think Ngun is a far better name. Gilmore, what is that?
I don't know
What is
because
that?
I really like Gilmore in a movie, and
Well, the thing about Ngun is that, it has so many wonderful meanings. It means money. Ngân lượng, right?
yeah.
Ngân sách.
Uh,
Okay. So that means money. Ngân hà, as in something that is like vast and immeasurable, right? Ngân nga. Wait, hold on. What does
well, like
that mean?
high note, right?
Kind of. Right. So essentially, I think that, our Vietnamese names are so beautiful. And the funny thing is, foreigners always try to make an effort to call us by our names, but for some reason, like a few years ago, somebody thought that it would be, more important for us, to jump on the bandwagon of changing our names into something that was, more westernized. Right? But I feel like, it's an It's a new day now. All right, now let's return to the feedback. I do have to say, are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
I need to address one question. What should I do one day before taking the IELTS test? You need to sleep, and you need to make sure that you do the number 2 in the right time. You don't want to do that in the middle of the test. That's all.
Okay.
I'm not talking to you, though. I'm talking to a person in the comment.
Okay.
Now, with regard to your answers, I thought that you were able to speak at length. You were able to use quite a nice range of vocabulary items. You were eloquent for the most part, and even when even when you were out of your element, you were still willing to just keep on pushing forward, which was a nice spirit to have. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna give you the business here. So perhaps you might want to find some tissues to wipe your tears as I go through your notes. The first question was about the past. What was the topic again?
Sports.
Okay, are you a sporty person, right? So you said something about the fact that um, you used to do this and that, so on and so forth, which means, personally, my advice is that whenever you talk about the past, just stay in that lane. Just stay in that lane. So I would advise you to say which meant. Although, grammatically speaking, you can certainly make a case for yourself, being right when using which means.
Okay.
It's just that my rule of thumb when it comes to dealing with tenses is that if I'm talking about something in the past, I'm gonna stay in that lane. Okay, I'm not gonna jump between tenses because that is very risky. Okay,
Okay.
spend a lot of time for studying. It sounded odd at first, but I reckon that if I listen to this recording again, I won't notice that. So I don't think that it's a mistake, but I'm just telling you that it sounded a bit odd to my ears, okay? Recharge our barrier. Oh, do you know what the actual idiom is?
Recharge our barrier.
Battery.
A battery. Oh, sorry, means that my pronunciation was wrong.
Or maybe you were thinking of a completely different word. Barrier is a word, right? But you should have been recharging your battery or batteries. Okay.
Battery.
Good. Now, I think that you can manage speaking part 1 pretty easily, but you definitely need to get to grips with these tiny mistakes.
Okay.
For speaking part 3, though, you're a high school student, right?
Yep. I'm a senior.
I don't care. I mean, what's the difference between a senior and a junior? But sorry, I don't know why I had to be so aggressive. Maybe it's because it's already like
It's
past 12.
because it's me and
Okay, I do apologize for that. For the first question, I felt like you just started things off on the wrong note. You opted to talk about something that was so like generic and all encompassing. My question was, what types of people tend to be creative? And you decided to tackle the question as if you were making a speech at Miss Universe. Right? So you talked about the fact that essentially everybody has the potential to become creative, and everybody is capable of thinking out of the box. I think that it's true, but it doesn't address the question. And as you can tell, it led you to a dead end. So when it comes to speaking, one thing that I would recommend you to do is to stay away from like abstract ideas. because soon enough you'll find that you don't really have a lot of things to say because like you're rolling with something that is super cryptic and all encompassing. Like everything is okay, like everyone is fine, everyone is possible, everything is possible, everyone is qualified for this. But then what can you talk about if your answer is yes, 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 right? So I would advise you to think in specific answers. When they ask you what types of people are likely to become creative, you can just think about creative people in general, right? So, in your opinion, what types of people tend to be creative, or what types of people are creative?
Young people, I think so.
That's what you think
Because
about.
no idea about this question.
You can talk about artists.
Artist. Oh.
You can talk about scientists, right? You can talk about entrepreneurs, right? If you think about, age groups, that's fine, but it's just a, unconventional way to navigate the question, right? So, yeah, think about like different occupations, different professions, and then you're gonna have a lot more room to stretch, so to speak. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean it, you definitely need to stay away from, these nonsensical abstract responses. Like these inspiring answers are not going to get you anywhere in the IELTS test. Okay, you have to be more specific. What kinds of people? Well, entrepreneurs. They have to be creative. They have to think out the box. They have to find solutions to problems, and they have to learn to take things in stride and overcome obstacles, right? Artists have to be creative because they need to create, artistic works that can resonate with lots of people to attain success and also to express themselves. And then you can talk about, creative artists that you know. Do you know anyone who is creative, who works in the entertainment industry?
Like in the business or
Entertainment industry.
yeah, I have few. I know few people.
Name them.
Like maybe artist in V-pop is
Name them.
Subin Hong Soon.
Okay, cool. That's a good name. I honestly don't care. Just give me a name, right? And as you navigate that particular question, you can give examples and talk about these examples in more details. That's how you navigate speaking part 3. It's not about, making a grand message. Understand?
Okay.
Be very careful with that. And whoever that is, not whoever, but if you feel like you are like talking in very like abstract and inspirational ways, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay?
Okay.
Individual creatures. Yes, so you were in that like Miss Universe trends. So get rid of that. You have to be more specific, and also try to get more examples. That should be fine. Note 1. I think that you would say no one, but you put too much emphasis on the note part. No one. Say that again. No one.
No one.
And then you talked about letting children do things on their own. You see, that's not going to work, right? So I feel like in speaking part 3, you definitely need to allocate a bit more time to the collection of ideas and the generation of arguments as well, because that was not a good thing to say. I know that in the speaking test they're not judging your knowledge, but as you have already experienced, when you mention a very interesting point, examiners are definitely gonna ask you follow-up questions, right? So when you say that, well, we should just let kids do whatever they want to do, then that's already a very controversial point to make. So most examiners are definitely going to pounce on that. They're definitely going to ask you follow-up questions like, is there any problem with, may there be any problem with letting children have things their way, right? These are very obvious questions. So I think the greatest issue when it comes to speaking part three is that you need to think of more specific answers, okay? And use common sense. Use common sense. So let me give you some suggestions here. For the first question, what types of people? I've already given you some suggestions. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Now for the second question, what can we do to encourage or to teach children to become more creative? You can talk about things related to their education. Like you should let them read books more. You should, let them draw more. But, when they draw, don't tell them what to draw. You can just give them a theme, and then, they can grab the ball and run with it, and then they can present to you the product, and you should let them tell you what they drew, right? So that they could sort of practice connecting the dots. And sometimes your interpretation of your pictures might be very different of the way that they perceive the drawings. What you see as a car may be a spaceship or something like that. And I think that that's a very wholesome way to encourage children to become more creative. You can also let them solve puzzles, and sometimes they do have to think out of the box to deal with these puzzles. On the internet, there are lots of them.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So think in more specific actions instead of talking about like generic things. But that's something that's gonna take a while, right? So now, with that being said, the elephant in the room is, do you want to know your score according to my assessment?
Well, no, not really, because like I feel like my performance today's wasn't really good. So
Fine. Done.
anyway, I truly appreciate your suggestion for my speaking, especially part 3. And yeah, thank you so much for that.
Good luck.
Yeah, goodbye.
Right. Thank you. People, that's all the time that we have for today. No more testing. I really want to hit the sack right now. So just one more minute and then I'm gonna go off. Hôm nay đã cố gắng dùng thành ngữ đó là cái gì? Get one foot in the door. Rất là thích thành ngữ đấy, học bao nhiêu lần rồi mà vẫn không nhớ. Get one foot in the door, to hear things from the grapevine, to pin your hopes on someone, or something. Thành ngữ nào nữa nhỉ? Whatever floats your boat. Cái đấy cũng hay. Mà cái đấy không dùng ở trong bài thi mấy. Còn thành ngữ nào nữa ta? Cuốn sách ở đâu nhỉ? Sao không quên mất sách rồi? Thành ngữ nào nữa nhỉ? Pin your hopes on someone. Chắc hết rồi nhỉ? Mình vẫn muốn dùng cái từ moving goalposts, nhưng mà dùng cái đấy rất là khó. Take things in stride as well. Thường thầy luyện idiom để speaking như nào? Đấy, bạn nhìn thấy là mình sẽ cố gắng dùng trong nhiều hoàn cảnh, và không phải lúc nào mình cũng sẽ dùng được. Nên mình sẽ cố dùng cho nhiều hoàn cảnh. Mà đi thi tất nhiên là mình sẽ dùng những cái thành ngữ mà mình quen thuộc thôi. Okay, well, that's all the time that we have for today. Mình dừng đây thôi nha, đi ngủ nha. Bye bye.